Welcome, everyone, to the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk from my hotel room today. I'm away from the house and from the studio for the weekend. I am out of town with my daughter and live streaming from the hotel room. Well, a lot has happened, and I wanted to start by talking about JD Vance, the 48th President of the United States, who's really shown himself to be the perfect successor to President Trump in 2032, 36, whenever. You know, he has the natural gift of charisma that very few people have. He's right on all the issues. He has the right answers every time. And he knows how to take people who hate him like the plague and have them eating right out of his hand. And what he did here is amazing. So they have this meme of him, and he made that his Halloween costume. I mean, who does that? This is freaking hilarious. Look at this. JD Vance, this is in the New York Post. JD Vance dresses up like meme version of himself for Halloween. This is unbelievable. Vice President JD Vance completely leaned into the internet culture for the spooky holiday. It transformed into just one of many memified versions of himself that have been shared online for years. The Republican, age 41, donned a dense curly brown wig, which he paired with a red tie and blue blazer, and a clear imitation of the bloated, dunce version of himself popularly used by internet trolls. I mean, look at that. That's actually a pretty good hairstyle. I mean, maybe he could keep that hairstyle all the time. That'd be pretty cool. Happy Halloween, and remember to say thank you, Vance said in an Instagram video that ended with him eerily spinning in a circle as the Twilight Zone theme played. The Veep also shared an up-close and personal selfie of a costumed X, making sure to widen his eyes to appear like the Photoshop version of himself in the meme. And see, that's the meme, which I don't know who came up with this disgusting thing. And then look at what he did. He took it and turned it into this super cool Halloween costume.
Happy Halloween, kids, and remember, say thank you.
That's it. I mean, what else do you want? This is just spectacular. You know, we have the best bench of up-and-coming MAGA presidents that you could eat. It's like the dream team and then some, right? I mean, we have the perfect group of people, the perfect team, and I'm just so excited. I didn't know how good JD was going to be because we hadn't really seen him in action. We've seen him in action a lot, and the first time we really saw him in action is when he took on Zelensky in that Oval Office meeting a few months ago. Remember the one where Brian Glenn was talking about what he was wearing and everything, and that was pretty heated. And it showed that JD Vance could take on world leaders. And if you go back and watch that, you would see that Zelensky was shaken. He was shaken. He really was. He wasn't just upset. He was just totally off his game, very nervous, very scared, and he looked like he was shaking to me. And JD Vance stood his own. That was amazing. Then he had, I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago now, that press conference where he took over the podium from Caroline Leavitt and took over the press briefing for a while. And he had those Trump-hating, MAGA-hating, Trump derangement syndrome suffering White House press corps members laughing at his own jokes. Remember they asked him about the no beardos thing from the Secretary of War? I mean, he just is incredible. And then, of course, the other night at the truly first Turning Point USA Q&A, the first one with Megyn Kelly was a disaster. But what what JD Vance did the other night at Ole Miss was just phenomenal, very exciting. I loved it. I thought it just made me feel so great because, the left, what they've been counting on, this is what they've been telling themselves, right? That MAGA is not really a movement, that it's just idol worship of Donald Trump, and when Donald Trump's no longer the president, it's going to fade away like the Tea Party did. And we're seeing that that's not going to happen. President Trump, I don't know. By the way, you guys like my hotel room that I'm staying at? My daughter has the room next door, and we have a connecting door. So we have two massive rooms. So I'm in this room by myself, and my daughter and a friend of hers, they're with us, are staying in the room next door. Very nice hotel, I got to tell you. And although I don't have my pillows, I forgot to bring my pillow, and it was like sleepy. And I don't have my pillow or my pillow pillow cover, and it is just. It wasn't the same. It was like sleeping on paper on the outside that was covering rocks. It just was. I'm so used to my pillow. I take the my pillow on the cruise. But anyway, nice hotel room, isn't it? So in the last 4 years, what President Trump has done is so freaking amazing. And I hope a lot of people around him, including himself, write books about what's gone on in the last 4 years, including Barron, who played a role. Because in the last 4 years during the Otto Penn administration, look at everything that he was going up against, right? They shot him. They tried to shoot him again. Between assassination attempts, they're arresting him, bringing him in court, making false allegations against him, trying to put him in prison. I mean, breaking into his house, tossing Melania's clothes. I mean, just insane. They tossed Barron's room, dumping out the contents of his desk on the floor and taking photographs. And while he was going through all that, he organized this 4-year second non-consecutive term down to the second, right? He surrounded himself with the best people for the job in almost every instance. You couldn't ask for more, right? I mean, they're just spectacular. He's got several successors. They've got everything going like clockwork. They've got the deportations going, cleaning up the crime. He's got the Democrat Party on the verge of evaporation. And what he did, the last 4 years, and by the way, he was running for president and having rallies every day, sometimes multiple times a day. I don't know how he did this in the 4 years that he was going through all this hell from the Trump haters. It is the greatest political miracle in the history of the United States and maybe Western civilization, what he did during the 4-year Otto Penn administration period. It's amazing. And we have so many great MAGA people. When President Trump left office, what they wanted him to do, if you remember, was form a third party. Remember that? And they wanted to form a MAGA party. And I would have been there. I'm going to follow Trump no matter what he does. But he said no. He says we're going to take back the Republican Party. And look what he's done, right? And look at what we have now. It's a truly amazing thing. And, I told you guys on Biden's inauguration day, that is the only, the Biden inauguration is the only presidential inauguration of my coherent life since I was a little boy that I've not watched, not even on reruns or replays. I wouldn't watch that. But I saw President Trump. I told you guys this on that day. I went up to Mar-a-Lago and I saw President Trump the last 15 minutes he was president in his first term. And I snapped a great picture of him, had him on my vlog, and he was smiling ear to ear. And I told my wife, I called her, and I told you guys, I said, look at that face. He's smiling ear to ear. He's going to be president for like 12 more minutes, maybe 15, and all this crap, and he doesn't have a worry in the world because he knew. He knew what he was going to do. And, I noticed, we got all these little elections going on all over the place. And you notice the president, he's got some endorsements, but he hasn't been campaigning for them, right? He hasn't been having rallies for them and everything. And I mean, there's probably a variety of reasons why, but I think one of them is he doesn't have the time. He's using every second of every day during this second term to do everything that he planned these last 4 years like clockwork. It's almost like they planned every minute of every day during that time off, didn't they? I mean, this is just it's just beautiful. So let me go through just a couple things here. I mean, JD Vance making us all proud, of course, and there's no getting around it. I just saw this guy. I just came across this guy a few minutes ago on X. Let me share this with you. He makes some good points. Listen to this.
So I actually watched the entire Turning Point USA event at Ole Miss, or the University of Mississippi, with Vice President JD Vance. And I gotta say, y'all know me, I'm always honest. He was really impressive. I didn't agree with everything he said, but I'm telling you, every time Vice President JD Vance gets the opportunity to just speak freely, he does look more and more presidential. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. That Vice President JD Vance and Secretary Marco Rubio ticket is looking real strong. I know we got 3 years ago. It's early, but anyways, he addressed several things. They were allowed to ask questions, and it seemed like all the questions were pretty open. I don't know if they screened them, but they were pretty tough questions. Nope. They asked him about Israel. They asked him about immigration. They asked him about him being a Christian or Catholic man in an inter-religious relationship. His wife was raised Hindu, but is agnostic currently, but they do raise their children Christian. What else did they ask about? Oh, they asked about the National Guard being sent to cities. And he answered everything clearly, distinctly, to where you know where he stands by his answer. You may not agree with everything, but he was very straightforward about what he believes, why these decisions were made, and the impact of the decisions. Like, to be quick, when he talked about immigration, he says he is for anyone coming to this country the legal pathway and wants to see America thrive and believes in the culture and wants to see America do great. He says that as the Vice President of the United States, it is his job to protect and worry about the future and outcomes of the citizens of the United States of America. So when he's talking about immigration, and he's married to a child of immigrants, he has no problem with people coming to this country wanting to better their lives, but they have to assimilate to American culture. And he brought up a reference of the 1920s when they shut down basically immigration to zero for 40 years. People thrived, and there was a culture and an expectation of the people who were here, who came here, to assimilate into American culture. And the fact that they shut down immigration allowed for that to happen. And he thinks America is in a crisis right now to where we have to slow it down. There's no specific number, but we have to significantly lessen immigration so that America can basically get right. He also brought up or talked about the National Guard. He was saying that, look, they're not sicking the federal government or federal or military on American citizens. If anyone did that, they would seek justice to that entity or institution that would put the National Guard on American citizens. Now, I know people will disagree with that. Again, I'm only explaining what he said. I'm not here to sell Vice President JD Vance to you, but I do think every American should watch this. This is our Vice President of the United States. Like, it doesn't mean you're with them or you're siding with them if you watch the Vice President of the United States speak. But I do think it's valuable that every American watch Vice President JD Vance speak to Ole Miss via Turning Point USA. I think it's of value.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Welcome, everyone. One of the reasons I'm doing this stream, too, from the hotel room is because, well, there's a lot going on in the news. But it's kind of like a test if I can live stream from the cruise ship. And because I'm looking at the picture, very good. I'm using the Wi-Fi from the hotel, which I normally don't use. I usually use my own hotspot when I'm out traveling, but I'm using the internet from the hotel, and they have two versions. They've got a free version and a paid version. So I said, well, let me use the free version because I really don't need to pay for it, but I wanted to use the lower quality version to see how the stream went. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to live stream like this on the cruise in March, which would be awesome. And those of you that are coming, we're going to have a great time. I look forward to seeing you all there. Yeah, I mean, if you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, guys, all right? Oh yeah, this is. I mean, this is really a great and wonderful time, guys. It really, truly is. You know, we got the election. Well, they're already doing the early voting began last week in New York, but we've got the election coming up, and what happens with New York City? It's pretty scary. You know, Zohan has gotten such a free pass. There's been every day for the last 3 weeks something new that would be career-ending for anyone else. Here he is. And notice here, this is in 2019. He's speaking to a group. He's not wearing American clothes. He's wearing, I don't know what you call those things.
There's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers, that all of us can settle into the city. And yet there would be these moments where I would be reminded by someone whose intent was to tell me that you do not belong. And one of those first moments was on 9/11, when, before I knew what had happened, my teacher had pulled me and a Muslim classmate of mine out of the class and told us that something has happened and you may be bullied. And I want you to tell me if that happens.
What a self-centered, narcissistic little mama's boy. We have the biggest attack on this country in our history. Remember, the loss of life on 9/11 was greater than that of Pearl Harbor. And not only that, it was worse in that it was an attack on civilians, terrorism. And every time Mamdani talks about 9/11, it's all about him, isn't it? It's not about what happened to this country. It's all about him.
And frankly, I was lucky because most Muslim students in the city were not given that kind of care from their teachers. And yet in that moment, I realized that I was not simply another classmate in a middle school. I was distinct. And there was a marker of that distinction on.
Yeah, he's a special person. I mean, this guy, his parents, man, they really, you've heard of helicopter parents? I mean, they probably gave him a prize when he went potty by himself for the first time. I mean, this guy's in love with himself.
And it was something that I would be reminded of again and again. Something when we came back from a trip abroad, being pulled aside at JFK by immigration agents in a double mirrored room, sitting me down on my own while my family was outside, and asking me if I had just attended a terrorist training camp, and if I had intentions of attacking this country, and if so, what were those plans? And it's something that has continued in the time since.
Well, yeah, he's hanging out with that unindicted co-conspirator from the 93 bombing. Maybe they should be pulling him aside to find out who he's associating with.
Where a few months ago, I went with a client of mine to a bankruptcy court, and as we're going into the court, the security guard takes me aside and pats me down with additional care and asks me multiple times if I have any weapons of mass destruction on me. And in these moments, the sense of not knowing where home is, they're amplified by what I would see around me.
Wow, this guy, what a beaut he is, huh? Oh my goodness, poor New York if he wins, but it's also poor America. We're all going to suffer if he wins. It's on all of us. It's going to affect the entire country. I'm looking to see if I tweet. I guess I didn't tweet this. I saw a guy on Twitter. And no, I don't see it now. I saw it this morning. I thought I retweeted it on X. I'm sorry, guys. You know what I mean. They said that New York is the 4th largest economy in the world. Is that true? So much of the financial world is based in New York City, but it's New York City is the single most important city, not just in America, but in the world, because of everything that's located there. And they hand it over to this guy is an unbelievable thing. There was something I wanted to play yesterday. Let me look for some. There was a sound clip I wanted to play for you guys before I play the next one. I was going to play this on the radio yesterday, and then we had some technical problems. I couldn't play any of my audio sound bites, and there was one in particular. There were a couple I wanted to share, but let me see if I can find this one. Bear with me, guys, and then I'll get back to everything. Welcome. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Yeah, I think this setup will work out pretty good on the cruise. If I got a good internet, on the cruise ship we have the Starlink internet, and I would assume it's at least equal to what the hotel Wi-Fi is in my room here. Okay, yeah, this is the one I wanted to play. Okay, yeah, there's two clips I want to play. All right. Okay, now this is JD Vance with Martha Brennan. And Martha Brennan here on Face the Nation, she's married to a Syrian-American guy. And I don't know if she's Muslim, if her kids are being raised as Muslims. I don't know. But, she has an obvious agenda. But anyway, she's talking to JD Vance about Nick Fuentes. Let me play this for you. Listen.
In your own movement, that's what I want to ask about, because one of the supremacists who was saying things like this about your family,
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes, an avowed anti-Semite,
sure.
went after your wife. He had previously dined at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump.
Now, first of all, everybody knows he tricked his way in there with Kanye West as part of Kanye's entourage with Donald Trump, as if Donald Trump set up some meeting with a white nationalist. She's such a piece of work, isn't she?
In your own movement, that's what I want to ask about, because one of the supremacists who was saying things like this about your family,
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes, an avowed anti-Semite,
sure.
went after your wife. He had previously dined at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. Does this have any room in your movement, in the MAGA movement?
Of course it doesn't have any room in the MAGA movement, and of course...
You disavow him and this.
And of course Donald Trump has criticized this person. Look, I think the guy's a total loser. Certainly I disavow him, but if you ask me what I care more about, is it a person attacking me personally, or is it government policy that discriminates based on race? That's what I really worry about.
Okay. Now, and then I have one more clip involving this. See, this is what, remember I've been telling you guys after this Tucker interview with Nick Fuentes, that every decade or so, the Republican-hating media picks somebody that is some kind of despicable person, a racist, a homophobe, and they try to make them the face of the Republican Party. And then what they want to do is go around to Republicans and have them all disavow this person. So, which implies that they're with us, and we've got to disavow them. And it's an old tactic. I told you, David Duke, Fred Phelps, the new ones, Nick Fuentes, and there's probably been others here and there. And it's an old liberal trick. You know how she said it? With Donald Trump. Whoa, well, gee whiz. And this is one of the reasons I was upset that Tucker gave credibility to Nick Fuentes. But where did this kid come from? Who created Nick Fuentes? Who made him a star? And in the Ben Shapiro interview with Nick Fuentes the other day, this is crazy, but they dropped, Nick Fuentes told this story, which I'm going to play for you in a moment, on an interaction he had, and this interaction is the beginning of what made him a nationally known person. Now, before I play it, let me know in the chat room, who do you think made Nick Fuentes famous? Who gave him his big break, so to speak? Who do you think? Think about it. Now, when I play the clip, it's shocking to some, and some may think it's not shocking that they wanted to create him. Who do you think? Who gave Nick Fuentes his big break? Who do you think? Let me know in the chat or the comments. I'm behind on my coffee because I'll tell you one thing: never use the coffee pots in hotel rooms. Never use coffee. I got a coffee pot here. They gave me coffee. Never use. I don't care how. This is a very nice hotel. I don't care what hotel you're in. Never use the coffee pot in a hotel room. Okay? Never, never. Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. Yeah, I got a couple guesses there. Very good guesses. And JP got the right answer. Ben Shapiro. Listen to, let me play this clip. This is from the Tucker Carlson interview this week.
I tweeted to Ben Shapiro. I said, you know, I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel. And he quote tweets me. And at this time, I have 1,000 followers on Twitter.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a freshman.
Still a freshman in college, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is even before I started my show. And I don't know, I probably got 100 likes on this tweet. It wasn't a viral tweet. He quote tweets me and says, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of anti-Semitism. And like, this is how it sort of begins. And I see this tweet. And by the way, that was on Christmas Eve in 2016.
He immediately called you an anti-Semite.
Mm-hmm. So I'm driving to Christmas Eve Mass with my family. And I see on Twitter, the notification comes up, Ben Shapiro quote tweets me, calling me an anti-Semite. And I was like, what is this? Like, why is this guy attacking me? You know, because I don't have a platform at this time. I'm not an influential guy or anything. And so then I put out another tweet, similar. I said something like, if you're China first, you should live in China. If you're Mexico first, you should live in Mexico. If you're Israel first, maybe you should go live in Israel. And again, he quote tweets me and says, you're an anti-Semite.
That same night?
This was, I think, a couple weeks later. Happened a little bit further down the line. And so...
Were you surprised that he knew you were?
Yeah, I was. I was surprised at why he cared.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know, isn't that something? So Ben Shapiro gave Nick Fuentes his big break. And... see, this is why I think Tucker Carlson made a mistake. You know, somebody, more than one person, but somebody that I respect said, you don't think Nick Fuentes should have the right to speak? You know, well, yeah, he should. I mean, it's America. I support the First Amendment. But to associate with him in our great conservative MAGA movement tarnishes our great movement with him. And he can go out and do his own thing. I'm not going to tell somebody they can't speak. It's America. But I don't want him connected with us because, like JD Vance said, he's not us. You know? And he just got elevated by Tucker. And this exchange that Ben Shapiro got involved with him on Twitter when he only had 1,000 followers and now he's famous, that's why you don't give a platform to these types of people. Because what happens is you elevate them. They take your clout and then they build on it. And you got to wonder if Ben Shapiro had never quote tweeted Nick Fuentes when he was 18 in high school with 1,000 followers, would we know who he was today? Is that the moment that shot him to really? He's almost a household name in the United States. And I would say we probably wouldn't know who he was if he wouldn't have done that. That's just me. But I mean, I'm open to be wrong about that. But that's what happened there, man. That's what happened. And JP got it right when I asked the question, who gave Nick Fuentes his big break? Are you watching my show prep? Or JP, how do you know? Or maybe you follow me on X. Oh man, yeah. So I've got a great view over here. I don't think you guys could see it if I move the camera because the window glare. But there's a water park here. I'm at Universal Studios Orlando. We're going to Halloween Horror Nights tonight, and I'm I'm just going to chill at the hotel today because we're going there this afternoon for Halloween Horror Nights. And we'll be there probably till like 2 in the morning. And they have this really cool water park called Volcano Bay. And the volcano is right outside my window here, which is a really, really cool. I got to the hotel early, so I got a great view. Welcome. If you're new, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And I was mentioned a few minutes ago, I got some new pieces of equipment that this is really the first time I'm using this to live stream with, and this is a test to see if I can live stream on the cruise and do the show on the cruise at least part of the time with the Starlink internet. And I did a test stream that was private early this morning, and I saw, wow, this is really good. So the internet they have here in the hotel, they have two kinds: the kind you pay for, and then the free. I did the free because, well, I wanted to test the lowest quality I could have. So the free Wi-Fi at the hotel, it can't be better than the Starlink on the cruise ship. But what happened, and I'm early in the morning, a lot of it when you're using Wi-Fi like that, how many people are up using it, right? How many people are drawing on it. So in the mornings on the cruise ship, most people will probably be sleeping. So maybe I'll get a good stream. So I'm going to definitely try to live stream just like this from the hotel. Now here, I've only been here one night. I got here yesterday around 2 in the afternoon. And so I'm not living here. I'll be in the cabin for a week. So my cabin may not be as neat as my hotel room is here. We'll find out. By the way, welcome everyone who's new. And the audio is good. This is the mic I use a lot when I'm vlogging. This is the mic I use when I'm on Newsmax. And I'll usually, what I do with this mic when I'm on Newsmax, it's usually, I'll have it under my tie or under my collar or something. You don't see it. Sometimes you'll see the green light if you're looking hard. Chuck, I hate you being so close to me, basically in my hood and not getting to connect. Well, I don't get up to Orlando too much anymore. I don't go to Disney anymore. But, and this Trump 2028 hat, oh my gosh. I'm getting people, and here in the hotel, there's a lot of tourists here. It's freaking cold. It's in the 50s. It's much colder here than it is in South Florida where I live. This is like Siberia for me. But this Trump 2028 hat, the tourists, they're literally stopping in their tracks. And they look. I see them looking, and then some of them stop, and then I look and I see them looking back at me. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And the little while ago, I went to the Starbucks in the hotel. They opened at 6, so I had to wait. That's why I didn't start the stream till 7, because I had to get my coffee. And the two guys, there were 3 of us waiting. And both of the guys, their name was Craig. And they got their orders mixed up. And they're like, oh, I'm Craig. No, I'm Craig. They didn't even know each other, right? They're both named Craig. And it was, and I heard them talking. I was waiting for my coffee. And I said, oh, I'm Craig too. It's my last name. And I turned around and they saw my hat. And then they didn't even acknowledge that I'd made like the little small talk joke, these jerks. This is Florida, man. It's a MAGA nation, jerks. But and some of the foreign tourists, I really see them do double takes, right? There's a lot of British tourists here, and I see that they look at this Trump 2028 hat, and they just stare. I love it. I love it, and I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it all freaking weekend. I love it. It's great, They just stop in their tracks and stare. Yep. I guess it's kind of like being like a hot girl walking, people stop and stare. Well, that's what it's like, It's hilarious. So listen to this. So the Democrat Party is falling apart. Yeah, I wonder what they're thinking. And of all I haven't had one this is a very unusual thing because I've been here, I got here like, I don't know, around 2 p.m. or so yesterday. Nothing but stares. I haven't gotten one nice comment, like nice hat or anything nothing like that. It's all been just no FUs either. Just stares, stopping in their tracks, and then these looks of judgment. And sometimes when they pass, I can hear them whispering to each other something about it. But usually I'll get nice hat, but oh well, what are you going to do? All right, so this is a caller to C-SPAN. The Democrat Party's done.
We go to Oklahoma, where Lawrence is on our line for Democrats. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm 78, and my folks were too. But this party has changed so damn much. It makes me sick. I'm going to move out of it. It's terrible, Just like Schumer, he needs to be in a home. Take Pelosi with him.
Lawrence, who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Pardon me?
Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Last election.
Oh,
but
Kamala.
like I said, I'm changing.
You voted for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, this is ridiculous,
He said, yeah.
Why did you
going around,
Why did you think Kamala Harris should win that election?
As a Democrat. I just a solid Democrat, like I told you my folks were too, and I'm just fed up. I'm moving, I don't know, independent or something's got to happen. I just wanted to make a comment, and thank you.
Wow. I mean, that's the you know what that is? That's the new normal, right? Democrats that are fed up. Well, let me see if I can find this one. Let me see here. Oh, yes. Listen to this. This guy here is, he's Muslim from the Middle East.
This might be news to some, but I am a Middle Eastern immigrant. And one thing I gotta say about Mamdani is that if you guys do vote for him to be the New York City mayor of your 4th largest economy in the world, your country, your United States, your New York City will sink faster than a scuba diver.
Wow. He said 4th largest economy. Is New York State or New York City the 4th largest economy? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard that before. I mean, I can see how it could be because they have, so much of the, Wall Street and everything there. Now, this here, this is really scary. This is a guy in Dearborn, Michigan, white American guy. He went to the city commission meeting to speak. And he is speaking, opposing naming a street after a Hezbollah supporter. So in Dearborn, they're passing a local ordinance. They're going to rename a street after this Hezbollah supporter. His name is Osama Siblani. And this guy, he looks like a regular Michigan guy, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. He gets up and he is talking to the city commission that he opposes naming this street in Dearborn, Michigan, after this Osama Hezbollah supporter. Listen.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You're an Islamophobe, and although you live here,
you're an Islamophobe. Jeez, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You're an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Okay, coexistence. Okay, this guy is the mayor of Dearborn, Abdullah Hammoud. So this is New York in the future, right? I mean, this guy is obviously a regular Michigan guy. Probably lived there all his life. People don't move to Michigan. Well, I guess these Muslims have moved to Michigan, but you know, Americans don't move to Michigan. They move out of Michigan, come to Florida because of the weather, right? This guy's probably not only been there his whole life, but his parents, grandparents, great-granddaddy, and all of them are there from there too. And he's being told by, what's his name, Mahmoud, that he's not welcome there. This is, you're not welcome in your own city, your own state, your own country.
I mean, Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Wow, believe in coexistence. You know, this is something that is, I would say it's, when it comes to not just immigrants to the United States, but to, you know, with the different cultures in our world, it seems to me that, I mean, and this is very typical what you see here. Muslim culture, they're not about coexisting. They're about completely taking over. And that's it. They're not interested in coexisting. They're not interested in diversity. They just come in and take over and bring their culture here. You know, and what's going on is it's in reverse. Immigrants are historically and supposed to assimilate to our culture. But now, when it comes to the Islamic immigrants, the Muslim immigrants, they want us to assimilate to their culture in our own country. And, you know, America is very unique with this. You know, all of us are descendant of immigrants at some point, right, in this country. And by the way, pretty much every other country too. It's just a matter of when you start recording, you know, history of a country. There are very few indigenous, truly indigenous people in the world. The Israelis are indigenous. The Jews are indigenous to Israel. But the left, those indigenous people aren't welcome on their own land, right, that God gave to them. But anyway, we're all descendant of immigrants at some point. And on different sides of my family, some are from Greece, some are from Germany. I don't know. Some other countries in Europe, I don't know. I mean, I'm as, you know, it doesn't really interest me that much. But no one in my family is into being German or even Greek. You know, it's like my wife, Kathy. Her father's Sicilian, Italian, you know, and we all like pizza, lasagna, and spaghetti, you know. But, you know, she doesn't think about being Italian. You know, and the same is true with you guys. But this new wave of immigrant, they're telling us that we have to assimilate to them. It's freaking insane. Listen to this. Here's a DACA guy.
Well, I've made up my mind. I will be turning in my DACA and returning to Mexico. We came to America January 15th, 1996, so almost 30 years. I was a baby, so I have no memories of Mexico, but I think it's time for me to go back. Now, there is a lot of fears and wonderings and what ifs, but I do not want to be captive to this country anymore. I am a homeowner, I'm a teacher, and I'm currently in my master's program. So this is going to take several months to deconstruct 30 years of building a life here. So I graduated in May. And as a teacher, we work through May. So by June of 2026, I should be back in Mexico. So again, it's going to be a long process. It's going to take some time, but I have already started working towards that big change.
Look at this guy here. He hates this country. Hear what he says. Everything he says. He's sitting there in a freaking Tesla. You can see the roof, see the seats. He's got a luxury car and he's bitching.
So I graduated in May. And as a teacher, we work through May. So by June of 2026, I should be back in Mexico. So again, it's going to be a long process. It's going to take some time, but I have already started working towards that big change. And I'm not doing it out of fear or worry. I am choosing to be with family. I am choosing to be free. I am choosing to travel. And I am choosing to give the good that I have to the country where I come from.
Yeah, all right, goodbye, see ya, adios, don't let the door hit you in the ass. I mean, this guy here, he's teaching our children. My goodness, what the hell is he teaching them? Not reading, writing, arithmetic, I'll tell you that. Teaching them liberal bullcrap. He'll be back, believe me. If he can get back in, he'll be back. Believe me, he'll be back. He will not like it there, okay? He will not like it there. You know, I saw a guy on the other day online, and he made such a great point. He said the Democrats. By the way, do you guys think that this setup will work good on the cruise? Seems to be working good here. This guy, I saw him on X the other day, and he was talking about this thing. The Democrats are all talking about how the illegals are good for our economy. And he said, if they're so good for the economy, why were they no good for their own economies of their own countries? And I thought that was such a brilliant point. He told it as a joke and didn't get too deep into it, but that is very, very true. Now, here is MAGA Mike Johnson at a press conference, and there's this reporter, what's her name? Allison Steinberg. She's really, really good. She's with Mike Lindell's Lindell TV. Listen.
The One Big Beautiful bill contained numerous Medicaid anti-fraud measures. Senator Tuberville recently highlighted a slew of aliens are receiving these SNAP benefits. Are there any plans to do the same with SNAP and totally reform it just to ensure that it's available only to U.S. citizens?
Yes, in fact, we've already done that now. So a couple of quick things on I guess the silver lining in all of this is that we're having a national conversation on our SNAP program, that this has sort of shined a light on a program that, especially under the last administration, has just become so bloated, so broken, so dysfunctional, so corrupt that it is astonishing when you dig in. So 3 important things on that. First, I talked about the extraordinary explosion of benefits under the last administration. And what happened was that the money that was going out was zero accountability. So one of the very first things we did when I was sworn in was send a letter to all the states and to remind everyone the SNAP program is administered through the states and the governor's office. So send a letter to all the states saying no more illegal aliens on SNAP. Period, full stop. So that's already a rule of this administration.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and a friend of mine, Brad, who goes on our cruises, he's out in California, and he sent me a picture. If you're a Patreon supporter, I posted this picture on Patreon for you guys to see. He went to the drive-through at McDonald's out in California, and he's in Northern California, by the way. He's not in Southern California. And they had a big banner on the front of the McDonald's that says, it's on my Patreon page. You guys on Patreon can see it. It says, "We accept EBT." A big banner that they had right in the front. You can use EBT at McDonald's. I thought back when I was in high school working at Publix, the grocery store, you know, I remember at the time you could only use food stamps on food you had to prepare, not pre-made food, right? Like you could buy chicken and all the ingredients to make fried chicken, but you couldn't pay for the ready-made fried chicken. And I don't know when all that changed, but there seemed to be no standards whatsoever. When it comes to that, I mean, it seems like you can basically do anything. I wonder if when you go to a restaurant, can you tip with EBT? I don't know. It's amazing, and I wonder. How much of Walmart revenue is from EBT? Somebody said was it 20%? And I'm wondering when it comes to McDonald's, which really is, I don't eat too much fast food. I used to, and rarely do I now. But I do like McDonald's, and I do like Arby's, you know. and Chick-fil-A, but I don't eat them very much. But when I do, I feel like crap for the whole rest of the day. When I go, like the other day, when I got off the air, I was having a craving for Arby's. I love Arby's, man. You guys love Arby's with the Arby's sauce? Oh man. And I got my roast beef and the curly fries, and it was like I took a sleeping pill. It made me like so tired. It was like a sleeping pill, and I felt like crap all day after I took that, and it, did that. So EBT should not be paying for things like that. I mean, that's just the way it is. It should only be paying for fresh food that you got to prepare. Okay, now I'm going to play this video, and when I play this, in one word, in the chat room or in the comments of the video, since I'm here in the hotel room, I'm not taking calls, so I would take calls about this. In one word, how does this make you feel when you watch this? This is a woman. She's at the airport in Salt Lake City, Utah. She said she was a U.S. citizen, but ICE was there and found out that she's illegal. She's 39 years old, from El Salvador, and she had a 2020 deportation order, and she never showed up to court. And this is her getting deported in the airport. So when I play this, in one word in the chat room or in the comments, tell me how this makes you feel. All right, let me pull it up. Here we go.
Baby, he did me. No! No, my daddy! Help me! Help me! I don't know how to...
Poppy.
Wait, I haven't been pregnant. No! Help me, please! My daddy! She's a human being! No, my daddy! He did! Baby, he did me! No! No! No, my daddy! Help me! Help me! I don't know how to... Daddy, wait! I haven't been pregnant! No! Help me, please! My daddy! She's a human being!
Oh, she's some liberal Karen. She's a human being. You know, this is by the way, I could see Walt Disney World from my hotel room, although it's like 8 miles away. I'm surprised. I can see Spaceship Earth at Epcot Center. I'm at Universal Studios Orlando, not Disney World, guys. But I can see it out of my window. I'm surprised. It's pretty clear. You know, this is amazing, okay, with the left, right? That one guy that's leaving and going back to Mexico on his own, the DACA guy. The left want to tell you, that this country is the worst country ever with all of the problem, all the problems in the world are our fault, right? We're being run by a fascist, Nazi, Hitler, all this stuff. If this country has all these terrible things, why do all these people come here? And why do they want them to stay here, right? Shouldn't they be celebrating that they're getting sent back away from this country that they hate so much, that's so terrible? I've often wondered about that. It seems to be a little bit of a conflict for the liberals when it comes to that, huh? Exactly. Oh, here's a great photograph. I wish I had a photograph like this. President Trump with the great Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. I did meet Muhammad Ali once at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. He was getting on a plane that I was getting off of, and I got his autograph and got to shake his hand. I was very excited. But Rosa Parks, look at that. Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali didn't think that Donald Trump was a racist. Look at that. That's some photo. Pretty powerful, huh? Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Let me see. I got so much to share with you guys. Oh, yeah. This is Anderson Cooper with Mamdani. And Anderson Cooper's starting to... He kind of looks like an old lady, doesn't he? he's really not aging well. Here's Mamdani sitting down with Anderson Cooper.
I mean, we already saw there was an ICE action on Canal Street. They said they were targeting undocumented immigrants who were, selling counterfeit bags, which on Canal Street is kind of, there's a long history of that, obviously. What do you do?
I think this is an example of what is unacceptable in this country. I think the first thing that you do is you close the door that Eric Adams opened to the NYPD doing civil immigration enforcement. He said that on national television. The second thing you do...
So you would not allow the New York Police Department to engage or to cooperate with ICE or DHS?
Not in civil immigration enforcement. We have sanctuary city laws where we've made very, very clear that for a set of serious crimes...
You can't pass a law legalizing federal crimes at the local level. There's no such thing. You don't have that authority. Maybe that's how they roll in Uganda, but not in America.
There is coordination with the federal administration, but anything beyond that, I think 172 crimes that are listed, that is something for the NYPD to focus on purely right here in New York City.
I mean, we already saw...
Yeah, okay. Now, so if Mamdani is going to obstruct President Trump and ICE, right? Is that an insurrection? Is he an insurrectionist? He is, one of his campaign promises that Mamdani has is to interrupt and interfere with government business. And Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and CNN and MSNBC and all the usual suspects said that if you're interfering with government business, you are indeed committing and taking part in an insurrection. So if Mamdani is going to interfere with federal law enforcement, is he not by their own definition an insurrectionist? So Nick Sorter, he's out on the streets and he met a Mamdani voter, and he asked her a very simple question, but her answer was, well, lacking. Listen.
Who are you voting for mayor?
I am voting Mamdani.
And why?
Because he's the most obvious choice.
What makes him an obvious choice for you?
It's just like, I'm trying to think.
There you go.
This reminds me of a certain comedy sketch where the comedian was like, we could either vote in one guy and he's gonna give everybody free houses, free rent, and he's gonna give everybody a Lamborghini, or we could vote in somebody who's gonna burn down the city. That's why I'm voting Mamdani, because I'm voting for the guy who give me the Lamborghini.
Yeah, so you think Mamdani's like just gonna give you guys everything?
Not everything. I'm saying it's the most obvious choice.
What do you think is gonna happen with government-run grocery stores and free buses? Do you think that sounds like a good idea?
That does sound like a good idea.
And freezing the rent?
That does sound like a good idea.
What if they have to freeze the rent to the point where eventually then the landlord's not able to come in and fix the washer and make a profit on his own lease?
That's their problem.
Oh my goodness, that's their problem. Yeah, they don't even know they're communist anymore. Oh my goodness. Oh my. That is a, I would say she is an average Mamdani voter. Would you guys agree with that? By the way, if you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. Hold on, I got so much to share here. Oh, yes. Katie Couric, on her podcast, interviewed Mamdani. Listen to this.
How concerned are you, though, that...
Yeah, okay, yeah, this is the right clip. Hold on. Yep, that's it.
How concerned are you, though, that people and companies will leave New York City and significantly reduce the tax base, which you want to use to pay for all the things you have behind you?
You know, I often go back to the statistics.
See behind him, he has all his signs: freeze the rent, fast buses, Medicare for all, you know, all the liberal BS.
That look into this question in previous years. And the Fiscal Policy Institute here in New York City did a study that found that the top 1% leave at 1/4 the rate of other income brackets in New York City. And when they do leave, it's often to other high tax states, as they're described, as well as for the reason of quality of life. I say all this to say that I'm confident that New Yorkers will choose to not only remain here, but also that others will choose to join us in this city. And I also know that it's my responsibility that for every single dollar that we spend, that it is a dollar that New Yorkers look at as a dollar well invested. Because I know for far too long, when New Yorkers have looked at the New York City budget, they are not convinced in the way in which this money is being spent. And it's my job to show that every single one of these dollars will transform quality of life for every New Yorker, no matter how much money they're making.
Okay, so what Mamdani's saying a lot of stupid things here, as always, because his lips are moving, so everything he says is stupid. But what he's saying, this is what he's promising business owners. If you stay in New York. I'm going to raise your taxes. If you leave, I won't raise I won't raise your taxes because I can't. You don't live in New York. Usually mayors and governors, they try to bring businesses into their cities or their states or their communities. And they do that oftentimes by giving them tax breaks because they bring, if a big business moves in, they bring a job. Not this guy. Stay in New York. We're going to raise your taxes if you're a business. Now, this other thing that he's saying, this is the part, though. This is why I played that clip. He was talking about, well, for all the people that move out, there's going to be people moving in. He's damn right about that. Who? Yeah, the people from Dearborn, Muslims. There's going to be a major Muslim migration and immigration to New York City if Mamdani wins. You come back to New York in 10 years, New Yorkistan is what it's going to become. That's it. The mayor of Minneapolis is a liberal beaut, I'll tell you that. When they had that sad shooting a while back, you could tell he did his hair before he had his press conference. He's a real beaut. Listen to what this guy, they got a lot of Somalis in Minneapolis. Listen to what this guy's plan is. Listen to this. He's standing in front of a home, like a Section 8 housing kind of situation.
So this is the kind of result that you're going to get from the 2040 plan. Presently, this is one single family home, houses one family. But in the future, it's public housing. It's going to be 3 families that get to live in our great city.
Okay, so he's got a single family home, and they're making these government homes. So now they're going to have 3 families living in single family homes, and they're all going to be Somalians. Oh yeah, that's great.
So this is the kind of result that you're going to get from the 2040 plan. Presently, this is one single family home, houses one family. But in the future, it's public housing. It's going to be 3 families that get to live in our great city. So again, taking it from affordable housing to 1 to 3. These are families that are getting taken off of the waiting list, families that have been waiting for a home in Minneapolis, and now they're going to get one.
So if it's a 3-bedroom house, we're going to have 1 family per bedroom, and they're Somalian, by the way. What a piece of work. I'll just describe him as that. How about that? There's other words, but I'm not going to use it. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. I know, isn't that nice? Yeah. I tell you, the liberals have lost their freaking minds. But one of the things that's going to save us is the new census. And it is going to happen, the off-decade census. Because the last census is just wrong. This is CNN. Listen.
One of the big things is it helps decide congressional maps.
Right.
Does this have everything to do with redistricting?
Well, it does. In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island.
Do we know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Rhode Island then didn't lose a seat. Red states like Alabama were undercounted. Listen, this is just a fact. It wasn't all red-blue, but it was disproportionately red-blue.
Wow. So here we have CNN telling us that the census was wrong and overcounted Democrats in blue states, overcounted blue states. And this goes back into what the president's talked about and others in top leadership in our party, that the Democrats may have 20, 25 seats in the House that they should not have. Because they've overcounted when it comes to Democrats. And another thing, yeah, that's right. It could be 30 seats that they have that they shouldn't have, that should be in red states. That's something, huh? No doubt. And that means they're also overrepresented in the Electoral College, because the way the Electoral College works, however many House members you have, that's how many Electoral College votes you have. So they're overrepresented in the census, but it's beyond that, because they're also overrepresented in Congress and in the Electoral College. That's why, you know, as big as our conservative movement is, we don't perform as well as we think we should because they have too much juice. Now, I can't play all of this because there's music on it, but I'll play the part without music. This is Mamdani here. Okay, so, okay, yeah, here it is. Let me pull it up. Martha McCallum, who's had a very good facelift.
I want to play this quick test that I thought was, this is just for fun, but this is him taking a test on music, and can he identify the song? And he's running as New York City mayor. Watch this.
Okay, now I can't play all that because they're playing music, but they play for him Billy Joel, New York State of Mind. He has no idea who it is. Now, I probably know most Billy Joel songs.
No. Billy Joel.
But you would recognize his voice and style. Even if you never heard the song, you would know it was Billy Joel, not Mamdani.
Billy Joel, I'm sorry, man.
People are going to give you shit for that, but in the best way.
I was like, who is this? When did this drop?
Okay, so does he, yeah, so he doesn't know who Billy Joel is. And I'll put a little bit more, they go back to Martha McCallum here.
Who is that, and when did this drop? Billy Joel's been playing Madison Square Garden, like, you know, several times a month for the past, I don't know, 10 years, right? Did you know who that was in that song?
Honestly, yeah.
You did?
I did.
Because my kids are your age, okay?
Well, it's because he's not an American. His mother said that Mamdani's not American. She said that. His mother said he's not an American. And how can you be an American, in particular a New Yorker, and not know who Billy Joel is? It's not that he didn't know who what the song was. New York State of Mind, by the way, wants to be the mayor of New York. Never heard the song before, never heard of the song, and he doesn't know who Billy Joel is. Because he's not an American. That's why. And they don't want to say it, right? They just don't want to say the truth. And I almost forgot this one. I apologize in advance. We're going to hear from Michelle Obama.
You said we were all too aware that as a first black couple, we couldn't afford any missteps.
Yeah.
And you also say, as a black woman, I was under a particularly white hot glare. Did you feel that?
For sure. You can't afford to get anything wrong because you didn't get at least until the country came to know us, we didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. She didn't get the grace other families. What kind of grace has President Trump and Melania gotten? All she does is whine about how she's been mistreated. First off, she's ugly as hell. She's got the body of, Janet Reno, and she's worldly famous. She's been on the cover of every magazine. She's a millionaire many times over. She lives not just in a mansion, she lives in a palace, right? She was First Lady of the United States for 8 years, and she's still a victim? What's the matter with this woman? Nothing would make her happy. And a lot of it is because she's just a racist. She's an angry, racist woman, and she just hates white people. And she's not a pleasant person. You know, I listened to a little bit of that podcast with her weirdo brother, and she's not a likable person. And as opposed to saying, well, people don't like me because I'm an asshole, she's, well, because I'm black. You know, believe it or not, there's people that don't like me, and I get it. You know, when I'm taking calls, I can be, you know, not as pleasant on the phones, and I can understand when people say, "Hey, Brian's an asshole." I can see why people would say that. They're wrong, but I can see Michelle. She's done nothing wrong. She's a perfect person, don't you know? You know, if you don't like her, you're obviously a racist. Well, there's a lot of black people that don't like Michelle Obama. Are they racist too, Michelle? You know, I went to Jupiter Joe. He gave me this. He's got these super cool pens. Look at that. Look at that. I was at his office, and I was leaving his office, and he had these pens, and I said, "Hey, can I have one of those Jupiter Joe pens?" And he said, and then he gave me a bag. He gave me a Jupiter Joe bag, and he emptied out the whole jar of pens into the bag. He gave me a bunch of notepads. But these pens, look at this. I love these kind of pens. What do you call these kind of pens that have the button? These are great pens. I know, isn't that nice? Jupiter Joe pens. They're pretty cool. Exactly. Pretty cool pens, I must say. Oh, man. Now this here, let me pull this up. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Hold on. Okay, I wanted to play this. This is a very strange story in the clip, but they dropped something here at the end that I want to say. This hotel that I'm at, it's a retro hotel that's supposed to be Universal Studios Orlando is where I'm at. Going to Halloween Horror Nights with my daughter tonight, and got here yesterday, having a great time. And this hotel I'm staying at, it's retro themed. It's themed in the for the 50s and the 60s. Right, the whole thing is themed, and in the shower, the shampoo and conditioner is Alberto VO5. They have Alberto VO5, and the soap in the shower and in the bathroom is bar soap. It's Zest. So yeah, Alberto VO5. I mean, it's like the old. I don't know where they get the bottles at. It's crazy. Yeah, the whole thing is themed like I'm making a vlog on it for my other channel, Main Street Moments. So make sure you guys follow me on my other channel. I'm making a vlog about it, and I'm going to vlog Halloween Horror Nights tonight. Yeah, it's the 50s and 60s is the theme, and it's really super cool. I like it. It's really nice. And I was telling my daughter when I was a kid in the 70s, and we would come to Florida on vacation, all the hotels looked like this, but they weren't retro. They were just, that's what it was, right? In the 70s. They were still like this. But it's really cool. And my daughter is with a friend, and they have the room next door. And we got a connecting door in between. And this room is freaking massive. So, and she's got the same room. So we've got like, it's like as big as a house. The door's shut now because they're sleeping, but it's like massive. Reminds you of Disney's Pop Century Hotel. Yeah, this is called the Cabana Bay. If you want to look it up online, the Cabana Bay. You know, I probably shouldn't be telling people where I'm staying, but what the hell? What are you going to do? It's not that hard to figure out if you're watching, right? I said I'm at Universal. I've been talking about it all week. But, yeah. Oh, man. Boy, oh, boy. My headphones are just a little tight. I have to wear, with the studio setup, I can't have both on. I can only have one on, so the other one's been bending my ear. But yeah, this hotel is really nice. And there's a water park. I got a view of the water park. It's called Volcano Bay, which is really cool. So you guys can check it out online. The Cabana Bay, and this is not a paid ad or anything. No, but it's really cool. Yeah, I would not be surprised if they have Old Spice here, but I couldn't believe it. Alberto VO5. I forgot about Alberto VO5 shampoo and conditioner. But I can't get the bottle out because they have the bottle like on a rack, you know, so you can't take the bottle out, or I'd bring it and show you. But it's on. I show it. I went in the shower for the YouTube video I'm making from my other channel. You'll see it. I was like, my daughter didn't even know what Alberto. I was like, look, they have Alberto VO5. She's like, what's Alberto VO5? Yeah. So anyway, listen to this. This is very strange. CNN, they do this discussion with this abortion rights activist, the white woman, she's the abortion rights activist, and then she drops something at the end.
Shouldn't be burying my daughter. My daughter should bury me. And she had a lot to give.
You know, it was a story that shocked the country. Adriana Smith, a pregnant woman in Georgia, was on life support after a catastrophic stroke in February left her brain dead. Now, doctors said they could not intervene because of the state's abortion restrictions. Despite the family's wishes, Smith was kept alive until doctors delivered her son, Chance, prematurely by C-section in June. According to the family's GoFundMe page, Chance is now 8 pounds and is still in the NICU because his lungs are underdeveloped. Now, stories like these show how difficult it is to be pregnant in America with those risks, especially when things can go wrong. And that's what Erin Carmone writes.
Now that's a new one. It's difficult to be pregnant in America? It seems if it's difficult to be pregnant in America, why are so many pregnant illegals coming here to give birth here if it's so difficult?
It's about in her book. It's a new book called Unbearable: 5 Women and the Perils of Pregnancy in America.
I think what Dobbs has done, it has clarified and it has accelerated that in many cases in the United States, when you become pregnant, you lose many of your constitutional.
Hold on, guys. I hit the wrong button. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. That's the part I wanted to play and I hit the wrong button. Hold on, let me go back. I just got to refresh it. Hold on. And I'll fast forward.